All right, previously, we have actually built this particular one on our screen. And right now we're going to be building something like this. And we have more amazing one coming up as well after this one, which is this particular one right here. And when you click on go to product detail, it shows you more detail about the products that we actually have. And it's very, very interactive. I'm going to show you how to build everything from the scratch, just like the way we did build this. But right now, let us take to this one. So I'm not going to show you through all of this because we are going to be creating it from the scratch. So let's do it. So over here, this is the previous one we have built. So we're going to actually start building upon this in the same workbook using the same data. So in case you don't have the data or you don't know how we got the data, the first video is actually the video you should go and watch. So let's go ahead and actually get this one duplicated. So we can actually right click, then we see where it says move or copy. So we click on it and we just click on create a copy, and here is okay. All right, it is time to actually get this one named. I'm going to say store dashboard. So on this one, I'm going to call it time frame because it's going to contain anything that has to do with date. So with this, I can actually get some of those things away from here because we don't actually need them. So we're going to create our own. For the very first time, I will hold my control key to select, to do multi-select, and get some of those things I have here away from the screen. Delete. Now they are gone, so we still have to go ahead and take these ones down here. We're going to take this one down. All right, so let me bring back the one behind it. Instead, I'm going to get this one off. Okay, so we have cleaned up this, and this one should be gone for now, right? So they're gone. So I think, okay, this one should be gone as well. So we are left with this. On this one, we want to make this one like this. So basically what we want to do is a task you have on your PDF that we're going to follow to get this one done, and it's going to show up on your screen right now. So that is exactly what we want to actually achieve, and we're going to go step by step to actually achieve it. So before now, I've told you that we don't have the same screen size. So this particular card here has a dimension, which is going to be over here on the shape. So when we look at it, we have 5.44 and by 6.29. That is the dimension we're actually using. So you might have lesser or even higher than this particular dimension we have right here. It depends on your size of screen. So this is what it is. So now the next thing is for me to actually insert a new worksheet right here and name it analysis 2. All right, so we have this one here. So what we need to do right now is to create our first pivot table right on this one. Go over here and click on insert. Then from here, we click on from this particular module. So we are going to use the existing worksheet, and here already we have selected it. We can go ahead and click on OK. That is better. So I would love to just create my first pivot table right here. So remember how we created our date table, right? Then we have to go over to the dates. And right now we're going to pick the month. So the month had already been formatted from January down to December, which is good. So we want to analyze the month and as well the targets at the same time. So we're going to create this. Let's have this closed. So go to calculation. So from calculation, we have the total revenue right here. And we're going to go to where we have the target writing. So we have the target right here as well. So I've told you, anytime you see this, don't worry about it. It's just trying to look at it if we have connection between where we created this measure from with the date we have used as our dimension. So you can just go ahead and actually get it off. Okay, how would you know if there is no some kind of relationship between where we have this target or revenue created with the date? Then you're going to see the same value all through. That is when you don't have a relationship between two tables. All right, we have this. We have to quickly clean this up. And I'm going to go over here to this design. Come over here. First of all, I turn off the grand total. And if you look at it, it's giving me raw labels. So I'm going to go ahead and choose tabular form. Then I have something like this. So quickly, I want to some kind of give it a table. So go over here, go to home. From home, we choose this, and I have it in the table format. So I would love to actually have this one clean. So the grid line should be turned off because already I can create a table for my analysis. All right, we have this. This is where we have to create our first chart from. So our first chart should go into here, and I'm going to go with this insert. And if I click on here, automatically I have this, but this is not what I want. I can't analyze with this. Instead, I'm going to use something that has to do with trending. So let's go with the line chart, right? So the line chart is something good that we can actually use right now. So on this particular part, we have to make sure we right click here and just say hide all field button. Do not say hide value, but this is what it is. Don't remove as well. So I've hidden it. So that is gone. So here we have this to control what people see when there's some kind of look at it, what value falls between this and this. So what I'm going to do right now is to make sure I format this, then it will look better. So highlight this area. So I'm going to Control 1, and I'm going to take you to where we have the formatting right in. If you don't forget this, so we have already created this in the first video. In case you've not watched it, you might need to go ahead and watch it and take a look at what we have done to get this formatting created. Just go ahead and click on OK. Now the formatting is done, and it will definitely affect this one right here. Okay, what if I don't want this particular point wherever for it? So what I'm going to do right now is to have it reduced from here. So go over to home and just click on this, and it takes off the decimal places for us. That is better. Okay, the next thing right now is to come over here, drag it, and we come over here, we go to the legend, we put it to the bottom. Beautiful, right? Okay, nicely done. So this is what we want, but definitely this line here is not really cool for it. So right now we can take this somewhere to actually get it done. But unfortunately, what I want to show, I'm sorry to must have tell you this by now because we've wasted a lot of our time. When we use pivot table, customizing the chart would look somehow. So we cannot some kind of customize this chart right now. So what we need to do right away is actually creating a particular table that would allow us to create the kind of chart we want. I'm so sorry. So let's do it. So this one should be right here. Whatever I add as another column here now cannot be added because it does not belong to pivot table. So quickly we come over here and minimize this. So we come over here, equals, we reference this. That is what we'll do. So once you reference it, you copy this down or copy it to the right, and quickly we copy it down like this. We go over here and we do this, and quickly we give the same formatting to it. So we click on this format painter and we are doing this now. Okay, so we have gotten this done. The next thing I'm going to do right now before I create my chart, I want to add one, which is going to be highlights. So I'm going to do this to be highlights. Highlights. So for the highlight, what I want to have on the highlight is to highlight the top 2 months for me on my line chart for a reason. So I'll go ahead and do this again. So to get it highlighted, what I need to do is to create extra, calculation here. So I'm going to do 1 and 2. So for 1 and 2, I want to extract the first large value from my revenue. I'm doing this on revenue, not on target. So on revenue, so I'm going to select this area. So once I've done this, I'm going to click on my F4 key. That will actually create a lock for me, but definitely it's not working. So for that, we have to manually lock this, but I want to show this in a way that you can see it better. Let's go to view now, go to this, and let's do 130. Okay, so we have a nice view that you can see whatever I do, no matter how your screen is little. Okay, now it's time again. So we do large. For the large, we select this area. So for some app I'm using, it doesn't allow me to use my F4 key to lock it down. So what I'm going to do right now is to make sure I manually do it. So which is the $sign here. If you know the position, then you are done. So this is what it is. So with my comma, the K is looking for if I want to return the first largest, second, third, or fourth, whatever. I'm going to do with this number I've typed down here. Then go ahead and close and hit the enter key. Go ahead and actually copy this down. Simple, right? Okay, the next thing right now, in case you want to see it in format, so go over to home, select this, and come over here, then do this. So to get these two in this box, what you can do is to do equals and use the if function. So I'm going to say if this is equals to this one right here. So remember how I told you have to lock this every single time, right? So let me show you one trick in case you have a lot of work and you want to be very much efficient with what you do. So right now I would have to lock this because if I copy this down, I don't want this one to be moving down. So another alternative to get this done is actually to create large 1, and I'm going to create large 2, or large is this, large 2, let's edit this one. So this is going to serve as the name we're going to use to actually get this done without we locking it down. But you don't use this every time. Locking it is very important so that you can understand how to do absolutes, mix, self-referencing, and all of that. So you go over here and make sure you select the value you want to some kind of create a name range for. So I'm going to highlight this area. So we need a name range right now. So go over here and click on formula. From formula, you can see it says from create from selection. So if I click on it right now, it gives me this. So it's going to be asking me create names from value in D. So which one am I going to use? This is my right hand corner. I'm going to use the right. This is bottom here. Here is the right column. So select this one and click on OK. So this selection isn't valid. Okay, I think I made a mistake somewhere. So we have to highlight this area and go over here. From selection automatically, because I did select the two together, it's actually mapping this for me. So this is right, this here is not right. So I'm gonna just okay, here we go. Now let's find out if this is true. I'm gonna go to view and turn on my formula bar so that I can see what it is that I have here. So with the formula bar being turned on, if I actually go over here right now, so look at where my distance is. My cursor is selected right now. So I'm going to go over here and I do large 1. It's going to select this. Even if I'm right here and I come here, I do this, it to jump me here. So now with this, we don't need to lock any cell down. All we just have to do here is to say equals and use the if and say if this one here is equals to this large. So I can write it and it will give me this. So I'm going to say large 1. Then I want this. So I can't say otherwise here, or if it is false, because we need to actually return blank for false. We have second one to actually bring in. So comma, instead of the false here, I'm going to do if again. So I'm going to say if this same number here is equals to large 2. So watch it right now. So when I actually type in large 2, automatically this one would be highlighted for me, this value. So I'm going to do large 2. Here we go. It has been highlighted. Then what do you want? Comma, we want to return something from here. Otherwise, give us blank. So with the 2 double quotes, we can have blank. So the if is 2, we have to close 2 brackets. So hit the enter key. Right now is blank. Let's copy it down. All right. So. Oh, unfortunately, we made a mistake because we did actually bring in revenue. And what we're actually looking out for is actually pulling something from the large, so which is absolutely wrong. What can we do? Do we have to do this from the scratch? I guess no. So just come here. When you hover over it, you see this cross that means move something. So this move handle has been active. So we can actually go ahead and move it to here, move it to here. So move all of this to here, move all of this to here, and now that is final. Hit the enter key right now. Nothing is still appearing, but copy down, and you can see the reflection of where we have the 2 large writing. So it's actually in May and in August. This is dynamic. It changes based on how the filter is actually moving it, right? So it is the high time for we to create our first pivot table, sorry, our first chart right now. Not like this one. This one here does not look good at all. So take it off. So what if I select this, go over to insert, go over to line chart, and I do this? Nothing shows up. This is weird. So what can we do instead? So let's get this off. So select this particular tool over here, exclude the highlight first, and go over to insert, go here. Now select this. This is done for me. So I can just go ahead and take off this, and this one is important. I want to keep it. So this one right here, the grid lines, turn it off right here. In case you're having issue highlighting the grid lines, just go over to here and you have the grid lines here. You just have to turn it off. Okay. So I'm going to do Control-1. I would change the kind of line I have. So I'm going to use a smooth line. So scroll down. You have this smooth line. You check that one. Click here. Smooth line. This look better, right? So it is time for me to add for my revenue. This value right now is very simple and easy. Let's quickly add it up. So what you can do right now is to right click inside here, and here you have the select data. Go ahead and click it. So with the select data being active, the next thing I'm going to do right now, I can click on my add. So when you click on add, you have this small pop-up that you can actually give the name highlight. And over here, I can take this off. Make sure you actually remove it totally. Otherwise, you are going to run into an error. So select this area, both the blank and down to the last month. And here we go. I'm going to go with something like this. Oh, does this make sense? No, it doesn't make any sense again. I just flopped. I'm so sorry. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and actually say, okay, fine. You know what? My line chart shouldn't come up with actually the values to show the data label like this. It's too much, pretty much. I wouldn't do that. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to select 1. If I select 1, the one I selected will be where I am going to have my data label on. If nothing is selected, you just select this one and no particular line is selected, and you go over here and you click on this. You have everything, both the target and the revenue being turned on for you. So for that, if you want to turn on a specific one, turn this particular one on, go over here, and this one is turned on. So I don't want to see all the value for every single month. So what I'm going to do right now is to only select for the highlighted one, the 2 marks I just highlighted right here. So the next thing I'm going to do is to click on this, and we'll go over here, so we have where it says label option. So we click on it. So we can see value from cell. So click on this one, and over here we can just go ahead and have this particular part here highlighted. Beautiful. So go and click on OK. And if you look at it, nothing changed, nothing at all. So what do? We just have to turn off the value, and we only have the highest one being pointed. All right, with this now, we are very much good to go. But unfortunately, this is not formatted the way we should have it formatted. Let's go over to home and click on this. Let's select this area. Now you can see what we have. We have just created our first chart. We have to move it, and we are here on the time frame and paste it in. So over here, we can just drop this. Let's go ahead and turn off the formula bar here. So we can just go ahead and situate it down right in here. So we do something like this. So I'm going to bring this down. So I'm going to do Control-1, and I'm going to turn off this border. I'm going to turn off the fill color. So I have this. So this is looking quite well, and compared it to what you have seen before, this is almost close to it, but that is not all. This is not showing lots of information. Right now, we want to see what is the variance. Should I call it variance? Now, the movement of the budget, like the budget now is looking clear that here, when we have this particular blue line to be above this particular one right here, that means the revenue is above budget. So when this one is below this one and this one is going higher, the target is actually above the revenue. But this is not showing any sense right away. So we need to add more context. In order to add more context, what we can do right now is to actually create a different chart that would definitely support this one. So let's go over to here. Okay, right here, we are back again. So we need to create a chart here. Let's get this one off. So the chart we're going to create right now will be from here. So I'm going to do my equals. I will select the month again, hit my enter key, and we do copy this down, right? So I'm going to select this area. Then I go over here, I do my table. So let's select the header plus this one. Let's go over to home, this color. So Control B to bold it. Then this is beautiful. So I'm going to type in here variance. So variance. So with variance, what I'm going to do right now is to select my my budget, my revenue, then subtract it from my target. So what we have is this. So if I go ahead and actually copy this down now, so we have something that looks like this. Is this what I want? Actually, no, I don't want something like this. I want to have this in a percentage, so we can have this deleted. So how do we create the percentage version of what I've just done? So we have shown, normally, this is working fine, this is fine. So this is the variance. Whenever we have minus, which means the target is more than the budget, or it's more than the revenue. Why would I always keep saying budget? Sorry. So whenever we have positive value, that means the revenue is higher than the target. So we gone beyond the revenue, but we don't want to show the value. We want to show percentage. So get this off. For we to show percentage here, we can highlight this area and Control-1 to convert it to a percentage, just like this. So here we go. So we can even use 2 decimal places or 1. Let's do this. Nothing is here now, but if I type number, it's actually going to be on percentage. Let's remove it. To get a percentage done, what I'm going to do right now is to open a bracket here. So with this bracket being opened, I'm going to say this particular value here, I'm going to subtract it from the target and have this closed and divide it by the target. So if I hit my enter key right now, I have 1.2%, which is a positive value. So let's copy this down and see what we have. So can you see? We have -5, 1, then -0. So if you look at where we have something like minus here, so the revenue says 424,000. This one is giving us 431,000, which means the target is higher. This is what it is. But unfortunately, I'm not going to use this. It's okay. The minus looks fine, but when it comes to the positive value, it's not giving us the vibe we are looking for. So we want to have a plus sign as well when it comes to positive value. How do we get it? So this one now is giving us 1.2. We want to have plus 1.2, and there is no default format for that. So Control-1 to bring this up. So over here, we go to this particular custom. we're here. Previously, we've done it, but I'm going to show you how to create from the scratch. If you've not watched the first video, this is your log. So you just do plus and you do 0.0. You get it? So percentage. So this here, I'm going to copy it to the screen, then you see what I'm doing. So we do under 1, which is going to be subtraction minus 0.0%. So I'm going to copy this away from here, Control C, and I do this. So if I paste this over here above, so this is what you see. Can you see it now? Can you see it? So now it has been applied to this. You can see where we have plus, 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 plus. That is where we have the revenue to be greater. Next is for me to highlight this one and quickly go over here, then click on insert. From insert, we create a chart, and this is the chart we want to actually use, right? So there is no point for you to keep this. There is no point for you to keep even this particular x-axis right here. We have it removed and we have this. So for the grid lines, don't forget to turn it off. So here we go. And I want to turn off the title as well. I have something as plain as this. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to actually maintain this to show positive and negative as well, because right now it's not really cool. So I'm going to actually take this to my dashboard first. Control X, go over to the time frame dashboard and paste it down. Then we bring it over here. I'm going to stretch it. So just take your time to make sure you have this month pointing to January, February. Take your time to do that. So go Control 1 and take off fill, take off line. This is what it is. So here we go. We have something like this, but unfortunately it's not making any damn sense yet. So what can we do? Let's take this up a little bit. Bring it down. Nicely done. Okay, what we can do right now is to actually go ahead and Control 1 and we go over to here. So you see where it says invert if negative, click on this and here we have this invert. You understand? So step off, click over here, click, click, click. Okay, select this color to be red. Oh, that is not gonna be the one I want. So we want to use the dark color, a green color like this one for something that is actually positive. Where we are green, we use green. So for this white here, we use this color because here is actually something negative. We do this. Okay, once we have done this, let's click on it again and let us do something like this. Importantly, so over here we select the data label, we turn it on, then we have something like this. So we can now see how we are growing. So you might want to just go ahead and do Ctrl B to bold it, and this shows very well. This is what we want. Okay, something like this is what we need to do. So you can see what we have done to have this achieved right now. So for the line chart, we need to actually give it a very nice cool color that will look better on it. So for this one, the target here, we don't want to show it in this color. So let's come over here and select something like this. Okay, let's select something lighter. This seems to be okay. This is okay. So for this one, we're going to select something like this color from here. So I've used this color. All right. So this is what we have right now. We're going to go to the previous dashboard. You can see this variance, and this variance is actually in percentage for target and revenue for every single store. So if I come to the time frame right now, this is the same thing I have. But remember, this one was a custom chart that we actually picked from Zebra. It's a custom chart we have from Zebra, But this one is something we created ourselves and it looks similar, showing the same information, right? So quickly we have to bring in, let's do illustration. Okay, over here, drag this down here. So we're going to show revenue versus targets by month, right? So let's go over here and crank it up a little bit. So we show, let's go with something like this. All right. Control 1 to take off the fill, the outline, everything. So click on this one and bring it down to create a space. So keep this somewhere around here. So let us be some kind of cool with this. Let's go over to, where could we be? So we go over to illustration, shapes, and we go over to this line here. So for my line, I'm going to hold my shift key to draw a perfect line. I'm going to draw a line like this. So Control 1 now. So this line I'll make it a bit thicker than this. So here we go. We select this. Let's go with something like this kind of line. So we just have a line here, right? Okay. The next thing now is this, because we're going to be having a filter here that filters this dashboard. So we want to have the total revenue, the target, and the variance that does something like this. But this one is not valid in this particular part right here. So we have to create from the scratch. And it's something very simple, but a bit different that we're going to have right here. Then we start creating the remaining part of the dashboard. So I hope you must have learned one or two things right here, which is very, very important. So application of this in your own personal report or dashboard is something very paramount. So one thing I'm going to add again is on the month and on the revenue trend, we want to Control 1 and go over to this marker. Remember, if I do Control 1, I'm very much specific. I don't just select this and I Control 1. I select the line chart I want. So the line chart I want to make a change to is actually the revenue. I'm going to do Control 1 to the revenue, then go over to this particular part where it says fill and line. So click on the marker. So when you click on the marker, it's going to take you somewhere here. Okay, so the marker, so click on the marker, it's going to take you somewhere here. So let's scroll down a bit. The marker should give us something. Let's open this particular marker option. So for marker option, none is what we have. So we want to use bullet in. So select this and select the kind of bullet you want, something that looks like circle here. So here we go. The point, the size here is 5. It's okay. So let's scroll down. Click on this. Give it the same color. Click, that is on this one here. Give it the same color. So let's step off. So we have something like this. So it helps you to, it guides you through the month, pointing to the month for you. This is something you can do. So just go ahead and get this done. It's very important. So we can do Control B to have this one showed up very well. So there is no filter on this right now. When filter comes in, you can see how interactive this actually is. Before we go into the next step, we need to add a slicer. So quickly go to the analysis. And over here, we have this, this. So they are all, this one and this one, they are all linked data. So this is the source of the data and it is a pivot table. So when I right click now, you can see, you can actually go ahead. Okay, let's do this. So come over here. The slicer we want to add is actually the store slicer. So when you go to salesperson here, you can go to active. If you have used the sales person's table before, or you go to all to find it. So here we go over here. So we have the store name, right click, and you can add it as a slicer. So it has been added for us. So let's Control X and see what we have done. So here we have our slicer in here. Let us look at the functionality. So let's say this particular store, if we click on it, we want to see the comparison of the budget, of the target rather, and the revenue. So click on it right now. So all of the month has their revenue being higher than the target. So what about this one here? No, not too good. You can see red. This is why we actually created this particular chart, to show us this particular kind of, trend that shows red and green. If it is good, it's green. If it is bad, we have red. So this is not all. We want to see what is the ratio between the revenue and the target. So very important. The very first thing we're going to do right now is to go over here and let's copy this very one from here. Ctrl C to copy. So I'm going to scroll to this end. Quickly, I'm going to paste this right here. So I'm going to bring up go to view, bring up the headings. Very important. So one thing I love to do, let me add one more column, is for me to actually make sure I create a separation between two of this. Let's go with this color. So now, which means this particular part would stand on its own. Then whenever I create a new pivot table, I will always create a separation to separate it from the other, so that when you want to make a track of what analysis is this, you can easily find it. So over here, we are not interested in actually having this month here. So what we're interested in is this particular one, which is our revenue and our target. And quickly, we want to add one more, and that is going to be the variance. The variance. So the variance now, to calculate the variance, I think we have done it before. So how do we go about it? We need to calculate the variance. For the variance, we just have to do this particular equals. We open the bracket. We subtract the revenue from the target. Then we close and divide it by the target. So this gives us what we want to see. Control 1, go to percentage here. Let's do 2 decimal places, and here we have it. So we have -12, which is not too good. And that was because I selected a filter from here. What about if I select this one where all the months are green? So what are we going to see? Let's go back here. So it's giving us 29%, appreciation between the revenue and the target. Okay, definitely this is not what we want to show. We want to actually show where we have arrow up and down. So for that, I'm going to create my arrow up and down right here. And to get that done is very, very simple, not something complicated at all. We've done that before. So all we need to do, double click, copy this particular part from here. When you copy, so you step down to where you want to have it created, right? So we actually use the if to say if this value here is greater than 0, then what we want to have is actually going to be the percentage. So give us this percentage, otherwise do nothing. So here we go, we have this. But does it make any sense? Because we are still repeating the same thing over and over again. So for that, that is not what we want. We want to include arrow up and down. To include the arrow up and down right now, let us just get this one off. So when it is greater than 0 and it is true, we do not want to show this. Instead, what we want to show right now is to actually show an arrow. So inside double quotes, we do window, full stop, gives us something like this. We take it right here and quickly click on this particular one and come over here, these two arrow pointing to the left and to the right, and scroll all the way down to get your arrow up. So where the heck is it? So here we have the arrow going up. So we have this, we can now close. If I close this now and hit my enter key, I only have an arrow. So what about the percentage? We want to concatenate the percentage with it. And this percentage here, we want to maintain the plus and the minus. You understand? So what can we do? We do this, we come over here now. So we say, if this is the case and we have gotten this, we want to concatenate. So let's get the bracket off. So here we use this concatenator. What if okay, let's do this. It's some kind of simple. This ampersand here. So we get a text. So in this text now, what are we trying to some kind of concatenate. That is the what? That is our percentage, which we have copied on our clipboard. The division between this and division that gave us this one here. So this is what it is that we have right here, right now. So with this, how do we want to format this? We want to format this with plus 0.0% here, this, and minus 0.0%. Then we go ahead and close. And if I hit my enter right now, it should give me this. So we're having an arrow pointing up and it's giving us plus, which is something very, very much, interesting. So that is just for the, if the value is actually positive. What about the negative aspect of it? So for the negative part of it, we are going to say, okay, over here, we have a comma that if the result is false. So what we're going to do right now is to use the ampersand again. And we connect what? If the value is false, not the ampersand now. If the value is false inside double quotes, we want to get the Windows key, an arrow going down. Select this one. Then this, go over here, go down. So let's see, this one is going down. So we close this. So when we close this, very importantly, we have to get this particular part. This very part here, we copy it and we paste it over here. Right? So if I hit my enter key, it doesn't change anything. Let's go over here and make sure we select something like this. So let's go back here. Now it's pointing down. Do you get it now? So on this particular one, this is the one we're going to use to actually do some kind of conditional formatting for this one. So click on this one here, go over to the top, go to this particular part. Let's click over to manage rules, then bring this down. So click over the new row here and let's use formula to determine what we want. And we're going to say if this particular one here is greater than 0, then that's going to give us some kind of green color. So let's do that. The font here, we use this color and we'll click on OK. So we go ahead and click on OK. If I apply this now, nothing happens. That was because it was not kind of greater than 0. So we add a new rule again, this new rule over here. So over here now, we now ask a question again and say if this very one here is less than 0. So what we want this time around, we want something very negative color. So let's select this one here and click on OK, click on OK. So by the time I apply this now, we can see this is what we have. So I'm going to come over here quickly and just increase the size of this. So once I've gotten this size, I can just go ahead and do this. So over here, I'm going to Control C to copy. So once I've copied it, I'm going to my dashboard environment here. I can go over here and select paste, then paste pressure. Over here, just click on link picture. We have two types of it. So we have picture and we have link picture. When you paste as picture, it's not linked to the source. When you post as link picture, it's linked to the source. How do you know if this is truly linked to the source? So just double click on it. It's going to jump you right here. And that is how you get to verify if this is linked or not. Let's get back here right now. And this one will be somewhere. But before we actually put this one at where it belongs, we have to get our other KPIs in here first. So what do? Let's go over to this and duplicate this here. Have this over here. So let's quickly name this one as total revenue. For total revenue, we just crank it up a little bit, like one more. Okay, so here is our total revenue. Stay in here. We'll be fine. So we duplicate it. This one is going to be our target. So the next one will be the variance. percentage, right? Okay, so I want to centralize them. Just hold your control key to select. So we want to have justification. Go over here and we go to align. We distribute horizontally. So here we go. So now if I select them, I go over here. I hold my control key. I can see this plus. I can drag it down. In case you can't do this, what you need to do is just to do normal copy and paste, and this is what you're going to have. So from that, I'm going to come over here now, go to home, and make sure I do this particular alignment here. Beautiful. So what is the need of this one? The need of this one is just for me to go over here, turn on my formula bar, and we go ahead and pick up the revenue from here. So total revenue is this one. So we click on this. So we get for our budget. So total budget is, target. Why would I always say budget? So target, and all over here, we don't need to get this. So I'm going to take this off. This one is going to come over and take its place here. So you can just increase it. So I want this to show very well. So for this one and this one, select and go over here, home, you go ahead and actually have this increase to this level like this. So we want to change this one to match the color we have right here. So what I'm going to do right now is just to make sure I select this and go over here and match it to this particular. I think we are using somewhere like this color, right? So let us customize our color. I think that is what is going to be best right now. So we're going to use a custom color to get this done. How do we go about it? So to do that now, I'm going to start from the line. So Ctrl+1, go over here. Now on this line here, I'm going to select my more color. In case you don't have the hex code, this is what you do. Over here, we have 31. So the next one, which is the green, so we have 140. And the last one, which is the blue, we have 179. So this gives us this particular kind of custom blue. So I'm going to use the same thing over here. So quickly click on text option. Over here, click on the color. It will actually reflect on that the recent here. So we have this used. So for this one, I'm going to use something that actually matches this. But if I use exact color like this, it's not going to appear very well. So I want my figure to appear. So all I need to do is just to go over here. Then let's click on this. And let's use something like this. This is beautiful, right? Can you see it now? So for this here, I'm going to click, hold my control, select, come over here. And let's go to alignment. So we align them properly. Then this is cool. So here, after being aligned, so we just have to make sure we settle this in. So we're not done yet. We still have more to go. So let's go over to the top, go to insert, go to illustrations, and let's go to shapes and pick up this and just something like this, right? So with this, I'm going to go over here and turn off the line, come over here, and let's select something like this. So I'm going to keep this here. So Ctrl+D to duplicate it. Keep this over here. Ctrl+D again. Then we're going to keep this over here. So this one here. So you can look at what I've done now. So on this one, I'm going to go ahead and just bring this down a bit. Then I can get this one as well, move down. Let's move this down, not too close, because if there is growth here, it's going to extend up. So don't take it too close. So on this one, I'm going to select it and just go ahead and take this one down this way. So select this one and bring this down. So there will be no collision with it within here and here. And this is exactly what we have. So watch when I actually interact with this is going to change what I have here. So now you can see it's actually plus 13. So the reason why we have plus 31 rather, plus 31 now is because all our months are actually up. Even though if we have some of the month that has some kind of red or the target is beyond the revenue. So we're still going to have something very positive if we have more months that has some kind of positive, return. Okay. Now, if I clear the filter away from here right now, you can see we have just 3% because this contributed to something negative. For that, we can have a lot. This is what we do to have this created. You can see we have more context right here. Instead of you just giving a line chart that shows the trend of the budget, of the target and the revenue. So you add this as a support to it. There is no need to add a month. This month filled this right here. So you don't need to do that. So what we are showing here is actually percentage, not just value. So what about this? So we can now move this over here. So it is time for we to actually come over and customize this and have it hidden somewhere. But for the time being, we're going to keep it right here until we are done with whatever we want to do. So the next chart to create to actually analyze our data based on revenue generated is actually this particular chart right here, which is going to be a custom chart that is not available in Microsoft Excel. There are different ways to actually get this created, but I'm going to show you 2 ways. But for the first time, let's focus on this. So later, after all, we're going to learn how to combine the charts together, just like what we have right here right now. This one shows male and female. You can see this is the male color, this is the female color. So we have this. I'm going to show you. So for now, we are focusing on this one. Let's get it. So we're right here on the previous one. So the first thing we have to do is to get this card, Control D to duplicate it, and we move it right here. Too huge, right? So let's quickly go to the top, go over here, and we'll click over this, over here. So the height has to be 2.93, 2.93. So we use the weight to be 2.38, so 2.38. So here we go. So we have something like this. So what I'm going to do right now is just to make sure I move this here and I maintain a white space between here, right? So Control D to duplicate it and I'll bring this over here. So with this over here right now, the space I have is pretty not enough. So for that, we would have to borrow space from here. So we have to affect this one a little bit. So just go ahead and push this in to create the space we want. And now that we've done that, we have to click on this one. And over here, we just have to push this in a little bit to get it the way we should. So once you have done this, it's going to affect some other things. So we just have to make it change that. So click on this one and make sure it's aligned properly. So if it's aligned properly to every single month right now, that is cool. But what about the title here? So we just have to go ahead and just move this straight up to this level. And for this one here, we just have to push it inside a bit. So this is what we want. Okay, now we have gotten these 2 cards right here. So it is time for we to create our chart and exactly what we want to have on the chart. So over here, I just here, this is my pivot table. I'm going to copy this one and Control C to copy. So when we come over here, we can actually Control V to have it pasted down. So now here we go. We are showing by revenue. I'm going to take my target off. So right now we are not concerned about our target. So let's do customer. Was it customer? Let's do date rather. Sorry for that. Let's do date. So with date now, if I scroll down, you can see my date has week type over here. So if I click on it, I have the weekday and the weekend. You understand? So in case you don't know how we got that done, so let's go over to Power Pivot here and we go over here to manage. So we created this particular date in Power Query and we can see the format right here. So if we go to our date right now, so here we have this one that was crafted from this. You get it? So now let's go back. So we are here. We have gotten this in here. So I want to get my revenue once more in again. So close this, open this up. So pushing the revenue once more. So we have the revenue right now. So one of the revenue should be converted to a percentage, which is going to be this. Go to show value as percentage of grand total. And this is what we have as end result, right? So for this chart, I would have to create a different sheet for it. So here is going to be so it's Waffle chart, right? So I'm going to get in my weekend and weekday here. Let's quickly zoom closely for you to see, no matter how your screen looks smallish. So we can do 30. So can we do 35? Okay, fine. So I'm going to do weekend, weekday. Okay, for the weekend value, we have to go and pick up the percentage of our weekend from here. So weekend has this. So for the weekday, we pick up percentage. Sorry, I think this is the weekday. This is the weekday. So the weekend is this very one here. So here is the weekend. So correct. So whenever there is changes here, the change will definitely affect this very one right here, which is something very, very simple. So what do we do first? Well, the first thing we need to do is going to be for we to create 1 to 100. To create 1 to 100, let's start from here. I'm going to add one here. I'm showing you the simplest one now. You can choose between the simplest one and the more complex one that we're going to create. Not very complex, but this one is the most simplest one ever. So now we have one. If I do equals this 1 plus 1, it gives us 2. As we copy across, it's actually adding 1 to it. So it's, and we have 10. So now with this, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do equals this particular one here. I'm going to add up 10 to it. That is plus 10. If I hit my enter key, it gives me 11. And I'm going to copy this way. So over here, I'm going to just take this up. So what I'm looking for is 100. I'm going to take off this top one. So we have actually gotten our 100. Right? So let us move this one away from here and have it somewhere around here, because we don't want this to affect what we do. So here we go, insert. Okay, we have gotten this here. What is the next thing that we need to do? Okay, the next thing we need to do right now is to make sure we actually remove the grid lines we have on this sheet, because it's going to actually affect what we want to achieve. So I'm going to come over here now, go to view and take off the grid lines. So no more grid lines here. So quickly I'm going to select all of this and say, okay, this is selected. I want to just go over here and choose the color. So this place here, let's go with something like this, something like this. Let's choose this, okay? Okay, something like this looks perfectly okay. So we choose this color for all of them. So the next thing I'll do now is to Control 1, then go over to custom, border. Under the border, I'm going to click on this one here. I will choose this particular one that has 5% Docker. So I'm going to make sure I click on this inside and I'll click on OK. So you can see this is how it looks. So it's actually making sense a little bit. So I'm going to select all of them. If I do select all of them right now, what I need to do to actually have this created is for me to actually say, okay, go over to the top, go to conditional formatting, go to manage or new role. Let's go to new role and we say contain cell. Contain cell, we come over here, we choose when it is less than or equal to, and we now have this box here. We can say when it is less than or equal to this particular 28% here. So what we want to do, we want to multiply it by 100. So if that is true, we want some kind of go over here and select how we want to have this formatted. So we can choose the color here. Let's go with this color for the first time. And over here, I'm going to click on OK. So if I click on OK right here, So we have this as the as the font being changed. So the font is very important. We want to change the font color. So let's go back and add one more. So over here, we go ahead and new rule again. And this time around, we do the same thing. We select less than or equal to. We click over here. We're still using this one and we multiply it by 100. So we select this time around. We are affecting the fill. So the fill now, we need to choose the same color. Unfortunately, the color is not found here. What can we do? Let's go to the font and click over here. Select this one. Click over it again and go to more color to pick the color code or the RGB code, wherever. So let's go with this one. It's easier to copy. So go over here. So we are going to be on fill instead. We're filling it. So go to more, and from more, go to custom. From custom, paste in the one you have copied here. So paste it in here and go over and click on OK. So click on OK, and here, click on OK. This is what you have. So if I go ahead and change this to maybe 1 right now, it's giving me 1. The question that might pop up in your mind right now is that, what the heck are you doing? Why are we having 1? So for this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, down to 10. So every single cell here contains 1 value at a time. So if I push this to some kind of 10 now, so we should have the whole line here filled. So here is 10. That is 10%. So each one of the cell is 1%, right? So if I put this on 20, look at what happens. So we have 2 of the, 1, 2 filled. So that is 20%. So we want to have it linked back to where it belongs. So go back here and we'll link it back to here and we'll have 28. Okay, after doing this now, let's select again and go to Control 1. And over here, we can have this number, go to custom and take off this and you do this. So before I do this, look at it. We have the number. The selected cell before we highlight was 91. If I just do something like this now, so click on OK, this is what we have. What did I use? I use this on your keyboard. Press this now. It's very important. So it has it cleared, and this is what we want to have. But unfortunately, we don't want to have something as huge as this. So what do? You can actually select it. So once you have it selected, we want to customize the space or how small we want it to look. That is exactly what we need to customize. So make sure you highlight from the top like this. So right click over here and go to column weight. So from column weight, we're going to use 0.92, 0.92. So if I click on OK, this is what I have. So remember what we have used here is 0.92. It's very important you remember it. So over here, this one starts from here. So we actually do it down to here and right click in between here and do row height. So over here, we're going to do, what should we do? We can do 7.5. 7.5. So click on OK. So here our chart is ready. Our chart is ready. So now you can do it manually. If I Ctrl Z, then it's not really important. You should follow what I've done. So you can just do this. So if it does not give you what you want, you can keep doing it like this. So come over here and select. If you don't want to use the number I've used before, so take this, something like this. So I'm going to open it up a little bit. I know it's too much. Okay, this one should be opened a bit. So before you do, just make sure this is selected. So let's do, yes, something like this looks better. So the question you might be having in mind, how do we create the second one? For the second one, we just do this. We copy this, Ctrl C to copy. Over here, we can have this pasted at the bottom here. So paste this one here. Okay. So what is lost now is this particular one. So we want to actually create the same thing. This is where we have to select this one and get what is the row height. For the row height is actually 5.5. So we have to use 5.5 for the one at the bottom right here. Select it, and here we do 5.5. So row height here, we do 5.5. And here I'm going to click on OK. So I have something like this. So I'm going to name this one here. How do I do this? Okay, over here, I'm going to name this one weekend. This one should be weekday. So for the weekend, we are very much satisfied with what we have. But for this one, we just have to like start all over again. All right. So what I'm going to do is just to go over here, go to manage. So once I get to manage, I can actually click on this one and go to edit. So once I click on edit, instead of me to use this here, I'm going to take it off and use this instead. Go ahead, I can go ahead and change the color I want to use. Let's go with something like this for now. So go ahead and click on OK. So try to remember the color you have actually picked. Or should we pick this one? Let's go with this one here. Click on OK. Click on OK. So apply this. You can see what it is. So do that for this one. Go to edit. So click on this particular part here. Remove this and make sure it's concentrating on this particular part. So go over here and select this one. So click on OK. Click on OK. And here we click on OK. Finally, it has been applied to it. This is what we have, and this is how we can actually create the chart we have seen. So the next thing we have to do is to make sure this particular chart goes to our dashboard. So Ctrl+C to copy, and over here, you come over and select a cell and go right here, go to paste, and go to paste as a link picture, as I've said earlier. So we have pasted this as a link picture. This is what we have right here. So it looks small. We can actually do this and increase the height, and the width can be increased at the same time. So it depends on what you want to show. So let us increase it this way. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the next one. Over here, we got it copy. Ctrl+C. We come here. We select a cell. We paste it in here as a link picture. So I'm going to move this here. If you look at it now, we can't actually do the same thing and got the same result. So what I'm going to do right now is select this one. Quickly go to the top ribbon, click on picture format, click on the height and the width. So for the height is almost the same thing. This is what we're going to affect. So over here, click. So here we have something like this. This is what we actually have. So I'm going to make sure this one sits right here and break this one down a bit. Right. Should we reduce this a bit? Just a bit. Okay, let's go with this. So our new weight right now is actually this. Just go over and give it to this one. So here's our new weight. Okay, once we have done this, let's see what is next. So I'm going to come over here and pick this, Ctrl+D, and over here, we can remove this portion. So we just say generated. So now, if you look at it, there is some kind of too much space between them. So what I'll do is just to get this one away and just use this one first. So here I'm going to put my revenue over here, Ctrl D. So this generated should be in here. So we can extend this one a bit. So we can put this one beneath here. So instead of we managing space, let's bring this down a little bit. We can create space for ourselves. So we can bring this one down now, like this. So we can bring this down. There is enough space to go around, right? So let's click on generate here. Go over to the top and increase this by 12. So we select the color to be something like this. Give it to this, right? So once we have gotten this now, the next thing is for we to select again, Ctrl D, and come over here and keep this right here, right? Okay. So next again is to Ctrl D again and bring this over here. So I'm going to put revenue by. This one should be revenue by. I'm going to extend this. So on this one here, I'm going to do week. So which one is this? Let's check it. So it's weekend. Yeah, it's going to be weekend. So revenue by weekends. So Control A, or sorry, Control B will be okay. So we stretch it to make sure it covers for everything. This is what we want to see, right? Okay, we want to match this one to the color. So just select it. Come over here and select this particular color. So once we've done that, we can go ahead and get this one. So Ctrl D to duplicate. I'll bring this down right here. So instead of we having weekend here, we can have week days here. So for the weekdays, the color should match our chart. So quickly go over here. We select this. Oh, sorry. Yeah, selected. So let's use the darker version of it. Okay, we have something like this. So quickly, what we need to do now is to get this one duplicated and bring it over here. Let's just make it a bit smaller. So we're going to pick up our percentage. So over here, we do this. We come here, we pick up the percentage for the weekend. Hit your enter key. This is for the weekend. Ctrl D. So bring this one over here. Let's go for the weekday. So we go ahead and pick for the weekday. So here we go. So I don't want to keep the decimal places. I would love to take them off. So what I'll do is just to come over here and we can use this very part here to take the decimal places off. So we're back here. So right now we can go ahead and use this. So let's go and do the same thing. So here we go. So this one should match the color of this one, while this one still maintain its color. So we go over here and we select this particular color right here. So what about this? Very, very interesting to look at. So remember, we have to do this. Oh, sorry, my bad. We're going to have to disorganize this. But before we do that, let's kind of bring this down a little bit. So in case you're guessing how this is, maybe you are not going to get the right one, select this one and look at its height over here. The height of this one now should be 3.25. So let's go over here And the new height is what we have to update. So we're going to do 3.25. We have updated that. So I'm going to click on this one now and this one. And what I'm going to do right now is to go to the top ribbon again, come over here, go to align. I'm going to align this one to the bottom. Align bottom. Oh no, that is not what it is. Yes, it's okay like this. What I'll do next is for me to take it back and align top. Align top. Yes, give us equal justification. So for that, what we have done before was wrong. It is time for we to actually fix it right. So do this, do this, do this. I'm going to select everything here, here, here. So here, here, here. So finally, this one, then we can move it down. Oh, I'm sorry, we have a feature in Excel that can actually do this for us one time. So let me show you that. I shouldn't have done this. So come over here to find and select, and you come over here to select object. So when you just do this now, it selects all of this for you instead of you doing manual work. My bad. All right, this is what it is that we want to show. So interact with it over here, and this will definitely update automatically. Can you see? So when you do this now, this chart updates. This is what it is. You can see weekdays contributed like 73% of our revenue. This is something very, very beautiful. So we have one more thing to go. So we're going to go ahead and do this, bring this over here and quickly select this. Now we're going to here to connect to revenue for week end. This is weekend revenue. So for the weekend revenue, we go up and increase it a bit. Sorry, let's change it to something a bit dark. So duplicate this and bring this over here. Let's keep it here. So here has to be the weekday. Weekday revenue should be something like this. So all I have to do now is just to give it the same thing we have over here. Let's go over here and pick it, then give it the same format. So we have something like this. Can you see how beautiful this is looking right now? This is exactly what you should be doing right now. Apply everything you have learned from here on your own personal project if you are already working. If you're not, when you are trying to practice, get the data set, practice with it. The best way to practice is to get another data set that is not related to this and apply the same thing we have done or similar to your own data because your data is very specific to you. Next now is to look at our revenue by quarter. So we want to look at our revenue by quarter, which is very, very important. And not just that, in this particular SIM card, we're going to look at the average revenue per quarter. And we want to see which particular quarter went above the average. So that is very important. So I'm going to show you how to build that. And the next thing we're going to do is actually looking at how to use color to actually show some kind of important information, like where we have the above and below. So we want to actually look at how we can actually show this. So using Excel. Okay, let's get started. So I'm going to get this all one taken off from here. Right. So this is the high time we go through this. The very first thing we're going to do is to still use our previous this thing here. So we have this here, and now we can copy. So I think we're using this one. Yes, this one. If you have followed me in the first video, you would understand this. So let's get this one copied. So I'm going to come over here now and have it pasted. I always love to give demarcation so that it can separate this analysis from the other. So I'm going to use this color. So it's your choice. You can choose any color you feel like is cool for you to be used. So I have this right here. Very simple. All we have to do is to step into it and actually bring this one down. And instead of us having this here, I'm going to get this one away from here, which is the percentage we have right in here. So the next thing we have to do right now is for we to bring quarter into it. So we have a calendar we have built in the first video. If you remembered, we built our own calendar using Power Query. Okay, let's go ahead and look for the quarter. So this quarter was added for us dynamically when we created it in Power Query. So this is what we have, but we're not going to actually create anything from here because pivot table would not allow you to add more columns except you want to write a formula that has to do with calculation that you can drag into pivot table or writing a DAX, but that is not what we're doing. We're trying to play a trick to create the kind of chart we want to create. So now you can just say link above charts. So now this would actually tell whoever is going to inherit this work to know what exactly the one below here is doing. So I'm going to reference this particular one because this one here will be dynamic as well. So as soon as the one above changes, this one will definitely change together with it. So I'm just going to copy the format. So come over here and use the same format for this. So can you see? That is beautiful. Okay, now we have gotten this. The next thing we have to do right now is to actually say highlight. So over here, I'm going to say average. Okay, we need to calculate the average revenue for all the quarter, not for every single quarter, for all the quarter. But the thing is this, how do you do that? So if I just say average right now, and I come over here, select this one, I hit enter, I'm just going to go down like this. If you look at it, this is what we have. So we have almost the same value with this. But that is not what we want. We can't average this one single value here for quarter one. So what we can do right now is to actually say equals. So we use the average function just like what we have done before. And the average now will be taking the average of all of this because we want to see what is the average revenue for all the quarters, which is the 4 quarters, right? So what we can do right now is to actually make sure we lock this down. So for that, watch me do it. So we are locking this because we don't want it to actually move. You get it? So go ahead and hit your enter key. Now we have the average. If I copy it down now, we have the same value all through for our average. Now, remember we talked about highlight, right? For the highlight right now is that we want to highlight the very quarter we have made revenue that is above the average we have set, or above the company's average. That is what we want to do right now. So very simple. What we can do right now is to use this simple if function to get that done. So asking if this value here is greater than this value. So you cannot see what is behind here. Let me show you. So when we put our cursor here and we actually write a formula here or a function here, it will be very hard for you to select this one. All we have to do is select what is below it that we can see, and we use the arrow up to actually take it up to select the one we want to select. You get that? So let's do it again. So writing if, now it's not actually blocked yet, but once I select this one right here and say greater than, now we can select this. So we select this one and moving my arrow up, now I have selected it. So if that is true, what do we want? We want to see this. Otherwise, now give us blank, or you can say give me 0, whatever. So now nothing happens here. So what we can do now is to just go ahead and copy this down. You can see the 2 places or the 2 quarters where we have the revenue that actually went above the average here. So what we can do now is for you to actually say, okay, this is what we actually want. Now it is the high time we create a chart that shows this. And how do we do this with a chart? Big question. Okay. Before we go on, we want to add actually another one. This one now will be showing the percentage, the quarter changes, like quarter to quarter changes. So what we need to do now is to quickly add another total revenue right in here. So where the heck is it? Let's scroll. Here we go. We add this total revenue. For this total revenue, we're going to have to do this and go to where it says show valuers. We can use formula to get it done, but once we have something that can actually do it for us automatically, we can do it. So percentage different from, so you have to be careful with how you do this. Don't select quarter and come over here to select previous. Get it. So click on OK. Now we have this. So if you look at what we have right here right now, this particular one, there is no quarter before first quarter, so it's going to give us blank. So what we have here is actually 9.72%. So what it is saying is that, okay, now between first quarter and second quarter, there is changes that is actually greater, like something positive. So this one is going down. This is 140K, but the third quarter we have 122, which is actually down by 12%, and each we have under growth gain by 11%. So for where we have growth, we want to have plus. Where we have decline of revenue, we want to have minus. Just like we have gotten it right here, but the plus is not automatic, it doesn't come. So select this area, we already have something like that. So Control 1. So I have it before, I've done it. So I'm going to do it again for you. So we can actually, okay, let me show you what it is. I think I have the code here. This is what it is right here. I'm going to copy this code and put it on the screen for you to see. So here we go. I'm going to click on OK. Now we have the plus on it. So let us look at it. This is the code I'm using. Can you see it now? Plus $0.0, minus 0.0, and the percentage sign. This is what we have just used. So type this in and you will have exactly something like this. So you can only use this when you want to use percentage and any value that has to do with negative and positive, then it shows you something minus and plus like this. All right. So we have gotten this. The next thing we have to do right now is to definitely create our chart with this. Let's see what happens when I do insert and I go with this and I click on this. Okay, we have something weird right here. It doesn't really make any damn sense right now. What we can do is to have it deleted. And let's go over here to create our chart from this. And first of all, we go to insert and here we choose the chart we want to use. Now we have our chart, right? So for the chart, we don't have to rank it from the highest to the lowest value. We are going to leave it like this. So I'm going to clear off all of those ones here. That is beautiful. This one should be gone as well. Now we can control the size of our chart and definitely make it a little bit smaller like this. Then the next thing here is that this is not looking beautiful at all. I'm going to do Ctrl B to actually get this one highlighted and highlight all of this and go over to insert. From insert, here, go over here and we go and select all border. So this is beautiful, right? So your back end should be clean. So we have this, we want to actually add this particular highlight on it. So how do we do it? So right now we can right click and go to select data. So from select data, we click on add, and from add, we click on the series name, which is this highlight here. And over here, we take off this one totally and we select this particular area. So it's going to be dynamic. When there is changes to first quarter or third quarter, it will dynamically pick it. So you need to select all of it. So click on OK right here and let's go with this. So we have something like this. So with this now, we are very much good to go. So what is next that we need to show? So we need to make sure we overlap this, right? So when we overlap it, let's go here with Control 1, we're here, so we can do 100%. Now that has been overlapped for us. So we need to give it the color. So when I talk about color is this. For the one that is highlighted, we want to actually change the color to match the color we have on our main dashboard, which is very, very important. So what color do we have on our dashboard? Let's go over here. Make sure you select it alone. Select this one. This is the highlighted one here right now. This one is the highlighted one, right? So once you have it selected, go over to where? Go over to here, go to fill, go to here. So we have colors already. Let's click over here to more. Let me show you. You can use the RGB or you can use the you can use the hex code to actually get what you want done. So I'm going to use the RGB right here. So for this one, I'm going to use 31. So for this one right here, I'm going to use 140. And for this one, I'm going to use 179. So you see that now? So let's go with this. Click on OK. So now you have this. So it has been highlighted for us. This is exactly what you need to do. So for those ones that did not surpass the average, so what we can do right now is for we to some kind of change the color. So let's go over here. So we go over to this again. So we do 112, and over here we do 199, and lastly we do 230, and we have the lighter color. Oh no, if you look at it now, I just flopped, because if you look at it, I should have selected this color here before I do it, but that is not bad. So we can just make a switch, this one for this. So we click on this one, and we click over here. Now we select this. Nicely done. So this does not convey any message yet. We need to add one more line. Is it line? Yeah, one more series. Right click on it and select data. So we add again, we add the series name, we add the average, and over here we get off this totally. We select this particular part right here to add this and click on OK. Click on OK right here. So if you look at it, it's not more making sense, but it's going to make a lot of sense right now. So right click and just say change series chart type. Okay, now that we are here, that was why we always impute our series name. That is the average here. For the average, I'm going to click on it. I change the type of the chart to a line chart. So you can go ahead and click on OK. So if you look at this one, that actually indicates where we went above average right now. You can see it's above the line, or it's going to be within the line if we have exact 132 as an average. So those ones that are below, they are this one right here. But unfortunately, I don't like this color for this. I think the color is cool, but it's too thick, and I don't want this solid line. So let's come down to this place here. Click over here now. And we are on the line, so we can select not this one, but this one here, and we use this particular type of line. Beautiful. Okay, for the weight, we have to reduce it. So something that looks a little bit thin as this one right here. So which is beautiful. For the color for now, let's do with this one. So now it is time for you to take it to our dashboard. But before we do that, let's do one more thing. Okay, what we can do right now is to just make sure we turn on the data label. So if I select this one now, so if I go over here and select my data label, you can see what I have. I have zeros here and here because I did not have any value that should represent that. So we're not going to do that. Instead, deselect it. So select this one and go over to data label. So you have this, right? This is beautiful. So we need to add another one. So the one I want to add right now is the changes we have, right? So what I'm going to do now is to select here. You can right click and actually go to format data label. So it's going to open this place for you, and click on this particular from cell and select this particular part right here and click on OK. Now you have this. So you can see where you select this particular part. So you just click on new line. And here you have it. So what do you have? Beautiful. So now you have this to like, this is the value for what this quarter, and this is the value for this quarter as well. So now the changes between this first quarter and the second quarter is actually plus 9.7. And here between second quarter to third quarter, we have minus 12.7. And here between the third quarter to the fourth quarter, we have increase of 11% in revenue. Beautiful, right? So this actually gives you very nice chart, and not just being nice, as in the information is outstanding. This is what we're looking forward to seeing. So we cut it away from here and we go to our dashboard, right? So not this one, the time frame dashboard here. So we are here, we can paste it in here. So this is where we're going to have this writing. So let's go over here to remove all of this and this one as well included. So we have to get this rightly the way it should be. So quickly, you can just format this. You can bold this to make sure it pops out very well. So if you do that, you have to do the same thing to this one as well, so that you have something very similar to what you have previously. So this is what it is that you can do. So Control 1 and make sure you select this here and go above. And let's say we select outside base. No. Okay, I think we're on the right one. We select this particular one right here. This is cool. This is right. So now we can just bring this one down, bring it down. So now you can increase it over here. So now you can see everything is showing up the way it should be, right? So this is what you do. So for this particular one, we have to make sure the sys has a width. Now, nicely done. So this responds to whatever we actually, select from here is actually dynamic. You can see now we have first quarter and second quarter that went above the average of our company revenue, right? And if I select another store right now, you can see that the changes will definitely reflect immediately. Now we only have the third quarter to went above the average. Other quarter did not. So this is what it is. So this is not all. We actually want to show a caption that looks beautiful and dynamic, right? So the very first thing we're going to do right now is that people cannot tell what this chart is actually all about. So what we can do right now, I'm going to get this one away from here. Ctrl D, I'm going to get this over here, right? So what I'm going to do now is going to be revenue by quarter versus percentage. Change. So we'll just open up this one here. So this is what we have. Okay, so we need to write a caption. We're going to write a caption for it. So over here now, we need the caption. And this caption is going to actually tell more story about what the chart is all about. Very, very important. So what will this chart be all about? So now the chart should actually say the line and the chart indicates blah, blah, blah. Let's do it. So I'm going to just write here, caption. Okay, beneath here, I'm going to say, okay, we have different ways to do this. I think I've shown this before in my videos. If you want to have the limiter, you can do your limiter once and you don't have problem with that. So let's do it. So I'm going to use text join. So remember, you have to be on 2021 or 2016 as the lowest version before you can get this particular function. So the limiter now should be, space, right? So we use two of these particular quotes, a space and close it, then comma. So it's asking you to ignore empty. So under comma to ignore empty. Now your first text should actually come. So for the first text right now, I open this. I don't have to put space before I type. If it were me using ampersand, I would have to put a space. But for now, the space had been there for me. So all I just need to do is to put in the text in here. So I'm going to say the line in the chart indicates. So now I'm done. I close it, comma again. Now text 2. What does it indicate? It indicates the average. So I want to have the value of my average right here. I'm going to have to use the text function here. The reason why I'm using the text function is because I want to format this into a 1,000, right? So for the text function is looking for value, I can just select any of this average because the average or the quarter average is the same thing. Comma. How do I want to format this? So using a $sign here, I'm going to use hash, comma, hash. And we close this. So we ought to have, sorry, I'm going to cancel it. So we ought to have actually opened this here first. No, nicely done. So once we are done with this, we can close, and under comma again, text 3. Please pay attention to this particular part. For the remaining text is going to be average revenue. So now we close, we hit enter. Now we have this. You can see the line in the chart indicates 136,869 average revenue. So here we go. We can just go back to this now. And once we are here, we can copy this down. Right? So go over here and click on view, then turn on this one. And let's quickly go ahead and pick it. Equals. And again, we choose to have it here. So we have this, right? So this is exactly what we want to have. But this is not enough to actually show what we actually want. We are going to show something else that will definitely give us something beautiful. So this is what it is. So the color should be not too dark. We don't want to overshadow. Yeah, we can put it on italic. So let's go on this one and try to manage things right here. Take this up. Right? Take this up. So let's go up and insert, and here we go over here, and we take a circle. So we just draw a little circle like this. Okay, so with this circle here, Ctrl+1, I'm gonna take off this line. So over here, I'm gonna pick up this particular color. That is the first color. So I'm gonna put it right here. To duplicate it. So keep on down beneath it. So we go over here and pick this very color here. That is nice. So next again is for me to go over to the top again and take a line and hold my shift key to draw just this little line. And over here, I'm going to go over to this particular one and I select this one like this. And for the weight, I will make sure the weight pops out very well. I'm going to select the same color I'm using. Yes, not quite there. Let's go with this. Okay. So here I'm going to keep the line somewhere around here. So once we have done this, let's quickly see what we can do. We can just get this one duplicated and change what I want on it. So now here, I'm going to do below average. So I reduce the font size. So below average, something like this. So take below average, here we go. This is for below average. So this one will be for our above average. So just type above average. And what I'm using is to duplicate it quickly is just Ctrl D. So we have this one, this color for above average. So here now, this one will be average line. So here's the average line. So for our average line now, we have to manage the space we have. I can bring this down. And for my average line, I can make my average line to go here. So whoever is trying to read the chart right now can definitely look at what is going on with the chart. So the line says something. So average line. Then this color below average. Whoever says it will like, okay, this line here, when this one goes above it, this is what it is. So this is what you should be doing to every single chart you have. Make sure you use color to tell the story. That's exactly what you need to do. So right now we have actually completed this one, and this is something you need to know. So try to actually replicate the same thing we have done right here on your own personal dashboard. And let me see you do a very great job on it. More than what I've done right here. This is highly dynamic. Every single time we make a change or filter, now we see these changes, and whoever comes right now can relate to what it is that we have right here. All right. You might be thinking like, what the heck is going on right here? Previously, we only have this one, but what about this? How did we come up with this particular one we have right here? So don't worry, it's not something different. It's exactly what we have done right on this particular one. So you can replicate the same thing over here as well, and it will give you the same result. So all you have to do is to use your previous knowledge to have it done. Do you get it right now? That is beautiful. So whatever we might have done here is actually very, very dynamic. So you can actually follow along step by step to get the same thing for your own personal project, or to get the data we have used here to practice and get it alongside with us. So you can see how dynamic it is. Every single time we select a particular store, we see changes and the whole dashboard actually updates.